It is.
Good luck.
Wait. Are you going to say something, Sam?
Yeah, okay.
Sam.
This is the Bertucci Family History video, July 8th, 2018.
Hi, I'm Gussie Bertucci Zawoski. And what else was
Your
I
day you were
supposed to
born.
say? August 18th, 1938, and I'm the oldest.
Lucille Bertucci Shannon. I was born July 27th, 1940.
Phyllis Bertucci Murphy. I was born June 25th, 1943. I'm the middle child, and you'll come to find out that there's truth to that.
I am Vincenta Bertucci McCoy. I was born September 1st, 1949. I was the fourth daughter that my mother needed like a hole in the head.
Fred Bertucci.
The
I was the
prince.
baby of the family.
Also known as the Prince.
Yeah, get in the camera here.
Born
He's in it.
No, the
Yeah, but his head is cut
October
off.
17th, 1955.
Whew, 1955. And here we are, the Five Stooges.
That's it.
Hey, Nick is the Three Stooges.
Listen.
Go ahead.
We're here
Okay.
to kind of go over things as they were when we were growing up, and to keep it for posterity. And here I am crying.
Exactly. We're just very weepy.
Listen,
We are
Okay.
the Bertucci Criers.
That's it.
we had a wonderful, wonderful life. We are so blessed. The good Lord has us all together. I'm 75. I was 75 last week. And I'll tell you what, when I think about it, none of us have been sick. We've all been basically healthy. We've all had enough to eat. We've all have nice houses and beautiful families, wonderful kids. I don't have any children, unfortunately. That's my own fault. But I have great, great nieces and nephews that I wouldn't give up for all the money in the world. So, I mean, what is there to say about our family? We were spoiled rotten when we were little.
Not me.
Oh, come on, Vinny. You were the most spoiled, because every time there was work to do, you were in the bathroom.
I was reading.
You were Grandma's favorites, and everybody had a do for Vinny.
I know.
You know.
Revisionist.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if she was Grandma's favorite.
She
but
was Grandma's favorite, believe me,
I know
towards
she
the
was
end.
my favorite, not Grandma's.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's really
Wasn't
true.
it, Vinny?
Well, yeah, was it, Lulu?
It was it. I
And
took care of
Lulu
Vinny
used
the
to-
most.
Lulu and I used to play Mary and Josie.
Right.
So Mary and
Josie,
don't-
we did.
Don't think that I never did any work, because when Lulu got a hold of me, and we played Mary and Josie,
and then
she
she
cracked
did
the
the
whip. She cracked the whip.
I'm
Oh, here,
lucky.
Vinny. Here, Josie. Why don't you do this dusting? Oh, here, Vinny. Why don't well, you know
Wait,
what?
who's Mary and Josie?
Yeah,
I
they were
was
just
Mary and she was
was
Josie.
Josie.
You just
Those
made it up?
were like
we
the
made up, we were
Gorgonis,
we were
probably.
playing.
yeah. She would
Like the Gorgonis.
Yeah, we were like the
That
Gorgonis
was her
girls,
trick to
Mary
get
and
her to get
Josie.
to do work.
Speaking of
And that's how she got me to do work.
Speaking of cracking the whip, when we were little, on Saturdays, my mother went to the store to help my dad in the meat market.
Right, Daddy.
And we had to clean the whole house from top to bottom. I had all the good stuff to do. The Venetian blinds, dust the dining room table. That was the French whatever the heck it was, with all the little doodads on it and
not
this
true.
and
That's
that.
because you were
That's
the
not true.
You used to clean the basement.
Well, you were the middle child.
No, that was after I did the blinds and the dusting upstairs. And Lulu had the broom, and if you didn't do what she wanted, she'd hit you with the broom. I'm lucky I'm alive. And then I had to wash the whole basement floor.
What the heck to the rest of them?
Nothing. That's not true. Nothing.
Gussie and Lula were like slaves.
They used to put the timer on. They timed it. They timed it. They had 5 minutes for this room and 10 minutes for that room and 6 minutes for that room. Oh yeah.
No, Gussie and Lula worked like dogs.
Oh,
Right, Sam?
We
I
did.
worked like a dog.
Oh,
Then we had a 15-gallon garbage can in the basement. The big metal garbage can. And who had emptied the garbage? Yours
Billy.
truly.
I don't think you did all the work, Philly.
Absolutely.
I did a lot of
Because
it.
on Saturdays, Gussie and I would clean the whole upstairs.
Oh,
We
yeah.
would put the timer on.
You didn't do the blinds because I did the blinds.
Well, we did the
Yeah, but you didn't,
No, they
yeah,
didn't.
maybe once a month or every
Oh.
2 months.
Every Saturday.
No,
Those didn't really work.
I don't
Are
think
you
so.
kidding?
Go ahead, Lou, finish your story.
Well, I think
Yeah,
that
like cleaning the house.
before we just emphasize cleaning and concentrate on cleaning, why don't you guys talk about when you lived on 55th, right after
Right.
the war?
Well,
that was
Start
great.
with Grandma and Grandpa. I put up their picture in the background there.
Right, they were married in
37.
Yeah.
and I was born.
Yeah, November 7th, 1937.
Right. And I was born like 9 months later. Grandma was 19 when she was born, so she was 20. She had been 20, it became 20 in January. I was born in August. And we lived on 55th between Mozart and Francisco in a brand new house. And Grandma had to keep house
I do
for
remember one
her
thing,
mother-in-law,
though. I remember
her
sitting
father-in-law,
there last
her sister-in-law, her husband, and I came 9 months later, and she kept house, she cleaned, and she cooked for all these people. And she was 19 years old.
Yeah, 20. Yeah,
Oh, 20.
She was
I'm
20
sorry.
years old.
20.
Yeah, and she baked.
And she
was one of the
baked.
best bakers you would have ever met.
And
Well,
she
how
learned baking.
Aunt Isabel.
Right. She learned baking from the lady next door, and we called her Aunt Isabel. And Grandma learned all about American cooking from Aunt Isabel, because Nana probably only cooked Italian because that's all she knew. So Grandma learned all about cooking and baking from Aunt Isabel, and she was a German lady, so she knew how to. She was a baker, and Grandma learned how to make dressing, stuffing, and
Bread,
all-
yeasto, pies.
Oh, right. Well, whatever. So anyway, that's where she got her education about cooking. And, well, Lucille and I,
Yeah.
and Philly.
Right.
Philly was born when we were still living at 55th. And I can remember the day we went to pick her up
Oh, my
when
God.
she was born.
Oh, well, you were 5.
I was 5.
Yeah, you would remember.
And I can remember being in the car. to
And
pick
that
her
was
up.
another thing. My father always had a car.
Great car.
And when we were little kids, we probably went through 5 or 6 cars by the time we were 17 or 18. My dad always had a car. And when Freddie was born, my father bought my mother a Cadillac.
Cadillac.
Because he was so delighted that he finally got his son. The prince was born. So we had a 1953 Cadillac, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
a black Cadillac.
Anyway, getting back to when we were young, we lived on 55th, and it was a wonderful
It was a 56.
neighborhood. We had everything that you could ever want across the street, with a drugstore, a dry goods store, a grocery store, shoemaker, hardware store,
Clothes shop.
clothes shop, gas station.
A theater.
Were you
Theater.
talking about 55th Street?
Yes.
Yeah, see, I didn't get any of that
Every-
good stuff.
everything.
Well, you were gone.
Because
You weren't here.
Armistead's Bakery, I never really got stuff from Armistead's.
Oh, no.
I would always hear about this Armistead's Bakery, and of course, because I'm a sweet freak, I always felt deprived that I never got anything from Armistead's.
Yes, but you got
Mr. Hawkins.
Mr. Hawkins.
Well,
and
yeah,
Oh.
that's true.
Hawkins
Mr.
was
Hawkins.
Yeah, I got
had the
Hawkins.
wonderful
Well,
bakery at
Hawkins-
65th.
Equally as good, if
Well,
not better.
Well, Armistead's was pretty good, though.
Yeah, but
And
so
Armistead's
was Hawkins.
Bakery, I was on 55th, and you almost never went in there when the whole store was filled with people waiting to buy their bakery goods. And so anyway, it was a wonderful, wonderful bakery. We had wonderful neighbors. We were very, very close to, as I say, Aunt Isabel, who lived next door. Mrs. Hoff lived in the next house. Elsie and Rudy lived on the other side. Mrs. Darrell, Mrs. Muslak, I remember the name, and Charlie Coletta. And he was Coletta, Polish Coletta, Kaleta. And he was like the Charlie Nicosia of our day.
Yeah.
He had lots of money and the best of everything. He had a pool in his yard,
Swimming pool, yeah.
a swimming pool.
Nobody
In
had one.
1940,
It had to be the 40s, yeah.
41, 42,
Well, yeah,
a swimming pool in the yard
47.
above the ground. He had the first television set that any of us knew about. And we would go to his house, and the friend, one of his young son was Carly, and he was my age, between Lulu and me. And we were great friends. So then, across the alley was the Kluczynski. Do you remember Judge Kluczynski? He was a prominent judge in Chicago. And Lucille eventually wound up living in that two flat.
Oh my gosh. I never did that.
Okay.
I never knew that.
But anyway, that was our wonderful neighborhood that we lived in.
And then one day my mother said to my father, I don't know about you, but I'm out of here. I'm buying another house because that's it with all these people. You want to come, fine. If you don't, stay here. So she bought the house on 66th in California. And she bought it from a lady that owned a lamp shop. And she bought the house just like Florida, all furnished, everything that we had. Fabulous, beautiful
This
furniture.
couch was
This
one of the
couch.
Oh my gosh.
This
I didn't
couch
realize
was
that.
Grandma's couch.
And
And
this is
it's
the one she
still-
bought from Estelle.
Estelle.
From Estelle,
I remember
right.
the name Estelle.
And Estelle's, the lamp shop, those two lamps came from
Estelle
Estelle's lamp shop.
shop, right. We had gorgeous, gorgeous marble top tables
Oh, yes.
and an octagon bungalow with the leaded glass windows. The place was absolutely
Yeah, Mary,
gorgeous.
yeah.
Kelly, we need to clarify something. You keep saying grandma, but you mean your mother,
My
right?
mother, yeah.
Well, I know, but
Oh,
they're
yeah.
thinking your grandma.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
We have to
my
clarify
mother.
that.
Are those the tables I had?
And
Yes,
my
those are the
mother
tables at Mary has.
used to go shopping 2 or 3 times a week downtown.
Yeah.
And we would get on the California bus to 55th and take the bus all the way down Garfield Boulevard to Michigan Avenue. And we went to Marshall Fields. We went to Carson's. We went to the Forum to eat. We had chocolate cream pie.
We went to
So
Old
we went
Heidelberg's
Berg's, right.
to eat.
Now
We
she's
went to
made one.
Berghoff's.
I didn't get in on
And
any
we
of
went
these.
to Olson and
That's why
Eban.
I wasn't spoiled.
And well, you weren't even here.
That's what I mean. I missed out on all the good stuff.
And my mother would go in high heels, all dolled up, with gloves and a hat,
Right.
and she'd have me in tow. Come on, let's go, hurry up. You know, how about it?
I don't know.
And she would buy probably a dozen dresses.
Oh, yeah, I can remember
For
that.
Gussie, Lulu, me, our cousin Kathy, and whatever we didn't want, she'd call Marshall Fields and they would come and pick the stuff up. Remember in those days? They had a delivery service. And the big green boxes, and whatever she didn't want to keep, she'd call and say, come and get it, and they would come and get it. And then the next day it'd be the same story.
You guys were spoiled.
2 or 3, oh, we were.
That's how she
Oh,
was.
she'd buy 10 skirts.
Skirts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, always.
Whatever she wanted to buy, she bought. But in the meantime, there was dinner on the table every single night, and we had
Soup, a lot of soup.
we had everything you could possibly think of to eat. We had
Yes.
every kind of meat you could think of. We
Because our
had
father was
had
the
the butcher shop,
Yeah.
Tell us about that a little
and
bit.
we had every kind of fish. We got to high school and went to school with these different girls in high school, and we would mention that we ate this, that, and the other thing, and they'd say, I never heard of that. I never heard of that. You had shrimp? I never had shrimp. And these were girls that were 14 and 15 years old. But we had everything. My father would come with a big, big package, this big, of white butcher paper with an assortment of all kinds of things, plop it down on the kitchen table, and that would be it.
Were you guys considered well-to-do?
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yes,
were.
that time.
And
Yeah,
my
yeah.
mother would sort everything out. We'd have this one night and that one night and the other thing, you know, whatever.
But we didn't know we were well-to-do.
No, we
No.
didn't.
We
You only know what
absolutely
you
did
know,
not.
right?
We
Right.
didn't.
That's it.
We
But we all had bicycles.
Yeah.
Lucille, Gussie, and I. Lucille had a Marnark. Gussie and I had twins. You know. Well, you couldn't even ride a bike.
Yeah, because I never had one. I had to have
Because you were afraid and this and that.
I had your hand-me-down.
Uncle Sammy bought me a bike when we still lived on 55th Street, a beautiful
bike.
blue
Yeah,
Schwinn
Schwinn. That wasn't a little bike, it
two-wheeler.
was a
I
bigger
was
bike.
8 years old. I think he bought it for me for my birthday. And
Did he
oh
get it
my-
at Maxwell Street?
Probably.
Red and
I had red and blue.
But it was
Talk about the
beau-
cousins and stuff, the
was
families.
beautiful.
We don't care.
But Uncle Sammy would never let his own son have a bike when he got older. It was really funny.
How about talking about your dad?
Oh, my
Our
father.
dad was the best. He was just the best.
Daddy was.
Except he never said anything. So
Daddy
we don't
was
really
the-
have too much to talk about.
Daddy was the breadwinner.
Yeah.
He never said boo. He
Never
would
did
come
anything.
home late at night.
Right.
My mother would always say, save that for Daddy.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
eat
right.
that, save that for your father. Save that for your
But
father.
I was
you
the
know.
one that warmed up dinner for Daddy
Daddy,
every
Right.
night.
Right.
And so whenever I wanted something, I'd go to my father and I'd say, Daddy, could I have $10 for a pair of shoes? And he always gave it to me. But everybody else, I think, would ask him for something and he never gave it to them like he did with me.
Take it out of Mommy's purse.
Well, maybe he did. I never did.
Why did you have to ask? Mommy's purse was always sitting there whatever you wanted, you just took it. I mean, what the heck? And my father, it was so funny, he had a metal chair that was like a rocker. I've never seen another one to this day. And he'd come home from work,
Poor guy.
and he'd eat his dinner, and he would sit on the chair. Well, like, I shouldn't even make fun of that because I'm the same way. As soon as I sit down, I'm sound asleep. But he would fall asleep, and he'd fall asleep with his mouth open. And he would be snoring, you know, and one of us would come up from behind him and take the back of the chair and go, boom, and he'd go flying. Wake him up, and he'd say, you son of a so-and-so, you son of a so-and-so. You should remember that.
You would do that
Oh,
mostly. Billy would springboard and catapult him.
But my father was the chauffeur.
Oh, yeah.
He
Oh,
would do
yeah.
anything my mother asked him to do. He took us to all kinds of meetings and
Dances.
dances.
And when I was a Girl Scout, he took us roller skating, and he actually skated.
Skated.
He was 5'7", 240 pounds, and he put on skates at the Girl Scout roller party.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable to see that man on skates.
Yeah, Daddy was the best. He was
Was.
just the best guy. He was just Fred, you know, Fred.
That's right.
Talk about the Night Riders.
And what night
Oh,
riders?
the Night Riders, that's right.
Who's that? I don't
Auntie Mary used to call
Yeah.
them the Night Riders.
That's right.
Oh,
Grandma,
because
On a whim.
Grandma and
Yeah.
Grandpa, after sometimes, like, especially in the summer, when Grandpa was finished eating, and after he had his little rest, then Grandma would say, let's go.
Let's go, Fred.
And she'd,
Kick them in the feet.
yeah, probably kick him in the feet and say, let's go, Fred. And we would take a ride. We'd probably, most of the time, go to Auntie Mary's.
That's right.
But it would be like 10 o'clock at night. And we were just going there. And then we'd sit and have coffee, and cake, and whatever Auntie Mary had, and visit, and then go home. But it was always late at night, because Grandpa didn't come home
We didn't come home till
He
late.
didn't close the store until 6. By the time he came home and ate, and whatever, it was late. So
Every once in a while.
Auntie Mary would call them the Night Riders. No matter where they went
Talk
late.
about us, and we're lake people, that's where we get it from.
Tell us more about the store. Did everyone work in the store?
No, we
Well,
never
the little-
Only my mother.
The store on 69th we never worked at because we were home cleaning the basement. Now, you know,
Well, the only thing I remember about the store on 69th is that there
The
was
sawdust.
sawdust. all
The
the
sawdust.
And I used to put it into piles with my feet. And
you had to
then,
be little.
oh yeah, I was really young,
little,
yeah, because
yeah.
I was in 4th grade when
Because
they
the store
closed
was
it.
closed by the time Gussie
was in-
got married. The
I
store
was in
was
4th
closed.
grade, yeah.
Right?
I was 9.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they closed the
Store
store in
was closed then.
1960.
But it was during the Depression.
Or
No, not during the
1958.
Depression,
No,
during wartime,
58.
I'm sorry. Wartime, and that time, people were given tokens to
Oh,
buy
yeah.
food and meat and things. And Grandpa would bring the tokens home, and we'd play, they were little red plastic round discs, and we would play on the floor with the tokens. And
He didn't get reimbursed for that?
I
Oh,
have no idea, but I know
Never.
those were the tokens, and we played with them.
yeah, people even paid my father with, Mommy had a couple diamond rings that ladies would come in and with jewelry and stuff to
Jewelry.
pay my father for the meat because they didn't have any money.
Right.
So they would try to pay him with something, you know. And by the time Daddy closed the store, Mommy said people owed him so much money. But what are you going to do? You know, I mean,
They
what
had
could you
to
do
close
in
because-
those days?
Another hereditary thing, but.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? Nothing. What could you do about it? We couldn't let the people starve, right? You know. Then my mother cooked dinner. We had a big, long table that someone made for us. That table in the basement.
No,
Bought
somebody,
that.
they just bought it.
That big, long table with the
Yes.
formica top?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, anyhow,
Was it yellow?
it was yellow, yeah.
Yeah.
It was really a long table, and we'd have dinner there every day. And pretty soon, sometimes while we were eating dinner, here would come Cheech with the case, with the bushel basket on his shoulder. Cheech was our uncle.
Yeah,
Cheech
Uncle
was,
Vito.
Cheech was our father's brother-in-law, his sister IT's husband.
Who we lived with when we were little.
Yeah, right.
On 55th.
And he
Uncle
worked
Vito.
for La Mantia Produce. So he'd get off probably about 4 o'clock, and by the time he got from Fulton Street to 66th in California, it was 5 o'clock or 5:15. Well, at this time, we were all eating dinner. And he'd come with the bushel, and he'd go with this little dago rope in his mouth. And he has a little limp with this big bushel basket. And he'd say, I got some great strawberries here, or I have some great peaches, or whatever. And my mother would say,
Celery.
get the flour, get the sugar, get the shortening. And she'd get up from the table and she'd start to make biscuits. And by the time we were done eating, the biscuits were in the oven, cooked, and we had strawberry shortcake for dessert. And Cheech would bring strawberries,
Yeah,
peaches, lettuce,
Oh, yeah.
cucumbers,
Lot of
tomatoes, potatoes,
Yeah, everything.
whatever they had left on the truck, he
And
would bring.
When we were very little, still on 55th, Cheech would bring prickly pears.
Oh,
Yeah, those were nuts.
And people don't even know
What a prickly pear is, right.
Well, we knew prickly pears, and we were scared to death of them, because
Yeah.
everybody would say, don't touch them, because you'll get pricked
They'll
with
get
them.
pinched.
So, up until I was an adult, I was afraid of a prickly pear. And when I went to Italy, I saw, as we were on the road, the prickly pears growing on the cactus.
It's
And I
on
said,
cactus, right? They pick it
oh
off the
my
cactus.
goodness, that's how they grow. There's the prickly pears. that
So
we
on
knew.
produce, didn't you guys used to tell stories about trees being buried in the winter?
Oh, that was my mother's
Oh,
father.
That was Nanu's fig trees.
Yeah, he had a fig tree.
On
He had a goat.
29th, yeah, he
He
would
had a
bury.
fig tree, a goat. I remember
Oh,
one
chickens.
time.
The good neighborhood, right?
Coming,
In Bridgeport,
coming
yeah.
downstairs one time, I stayed with Dolores, who lived upstairs from my grandparents. And I remember I stayed overnight. I went downstairs, and Nana was skinning a rabbit.
Oh,
And I came downstairs, and I looked, and I started to gag. The gag reflex started, and Dolores said, "Oh, don't look, Nana's skinning a rabbit." And it's like, oh, I'm so glad I know that. It was so nice to know.
well, Nanu used to grab a chicken, cut its head off,
Oh,
and
she'd
we'd
bring-
have fried
she'd
chicken.
She'd bring the neck.
Bring the neck.
Hence why I'm a vegetarian.
We'd have fried chicken, you know.
How were
And-
holidays growing up?
Oh, holidays. Well,
Well, every year Cheech would bring us a Christmas
Christmas
tree.
tree,
Right.
right.
You know. so
And the
that we would
Christmas
decorate
tree was put up in the basement,
Basement.
at the end of the basement. And we had all kinds of ornaments and tinsel and this and that. I mean,
We had the
Christmas-
ornaments with the liquid that would bubble.
The bubble,
Yeah,
right,
bubbles.
the bubble ornaments that they now have at the Bubble Room in Naples, Florida.
Right, exactly.
Right, the whole
Actually,
restaurant has these little ornaments.
Right, those
Santa
were
Barbara.
You know,
great.
and people that
And
go
Phyllis-
there have
Phyllis
never
would
seen
be-
them before.
You'd be the tinsel.
Oh, I had to do the
Oh,
tinsel.
you did the tinsel.
I had all the good
And she
stuff.
did it one strand
At
at
a
a
time.
time.
Yeah.
And when she was done,
It
it's
was
like, look what I did.
Yeah.
Doesn't this look great? And it did.
Well, it did.
Some things never change.
Yeah, she would do it one strand at a
We
time.
had to with tinsel.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise it
There
would be
wasn't
a
it
mess.
wasn't garland that you just rolled around the
Kids
tree.
know what tinsel is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one year I got hit by a car.
oh, but that's
The
when
girls
you
were across the
first very
street.
young, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was, Vinny was 2
I
weeks
was-
old.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was
And the
young.
girls were across the street, and I wanted to go with them, and I yelled, "Wait for me!" And I ran out into the street, and this man came along with this brand new car, and he hit me, right? So I can actually remember to this day, I have these little brown shoes on with a big strap across the front. And they took me to the hospital, and I had holes in my socks. And I'm on the table, the doctor's examining me, and my mother's yelling at me, "How come you have those socks on with holes in them?" You have a million pairs of socks. It was so funny.
It's
Oh.
crazy.
But that year for Christmas, the man said he was so happy that he didn't kill me, you know. And I was kind of happy too that he didn't kill me. And that year he gave me this big, gorgeous doll. It was by the Christmas tree, you know, waiting for me.
He's very nice.
But we had all kinds of presents and everything. I mean, it was,
Where
you
was
know.
it? California? Where
Yeah,
did you-
California, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because I was born.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Vinny was born. She was adorable when Mommy brought her home. I can remember to this day how cute she was, little tiny little thing. And then she was a pain in the neck because she wouldn't go to school.
Oh, I hated
Cried
going to school.
every day,
Yeah,
every
I had
single day.
separation anxiety. I always thought I was
Every
going to
day.
be abandoned.
And I had to drag her to school by the arm every day, screaming, you know.
Yeah, that was not fun.
Sent one of the nuns to the nut house
No, you
because she did. She had a nervous breakdown.
It wasn't because of me.
Because of you.
I doubt
Oh, you don't remember.
I doubt
All right.
it. I don't think.
In kindergarten, the poor nun had a nervous breakdown because this one cried every single
Oh,
day.
I don't think so.
All right.
I'm sure that's
Probably
not
had-
why the nun had to go.
Exactly.
Alright.
She probably had a nervous breakdown because she didn't want to be a nun anymore.
Maybe, I'm sure
Okay.
that's what it was.
Talk about your school lives, where you went to school and all that.
Oh yeah, we went to St. Rita. We had one
Oh,
of the
went to-
best educations ever. I did.
Oh,
they went
yeah.
to St. Clair when they lived
Oh,
on 50
Oh,
Clair.
yeah, but that was,
But I went to
Only 2
St.
years, 1
Rita,
year,
and they were they the same nuns? They were
No,
Dominicans.
absolutely,
yeah.
We had
Yeah.
Augustinian priests and Dominican nuns, and the Adrian
Adrian.
Dominican nuns were the best educators in the world.
Yeah.
Everything that I know, grammar, geography, math, I learned from the Dominicans.
yeah, they were
They
the
were
best.
unbelievable. They gave us the best
That's
basic, best basic education you could ever want. And of course, religion. We actually learned religion in our Catholic school.
Yeah, well, we
Yeah,
know
we
a
did.
lot of religion.
Oh, yeah.
And in
Yeah.
Billy's class, she was a war baby. There were 62 kids.
61 in my kindergarten.
61 in her class.
61 kids in my garden, in my
One teacher
kindergarten
without
class.
an assistant.
In her
Sister
room.
Ani-
In her
Sister
room.
Anissa
room.
Marie
Right.
in our room.
When I was in school, we had like 3 homerooms,
Oh, yes, right.
and there were 56 to 58 kids in each
Well,
homeroom.
that's Philly, but they had
Yeah.
60.
I had 61 in my
But,
kindergarten.
but there were 3 rooms.
Yes, there
yeah.
were three.
Yeah, well, there were other
rooms all
rooms
the
too,
while.
right.
Yeah.
I had
Those
Sister
were the really
Anissa
the
Marie
baby
for kindergarten. I remember her name.
We didn't
I
have,
thought Sister Anissa Marie was your 6th grade teacher, because I remember I stayed with you in 6th grade at one time. Mommy went somewhere, and I went to school with you, and Sister Anissa Marie was your 6th grade teacher, and I can
She
remember.
might have been my kindergarten teacher
I was
too.
so afraid of heights, and then when I went up to the 3rd floor, you were on the 3rd floor, and I went up, and because the rungs of the
Stairs.
the stair, yeah, the stair, the banisters.
Yeah.
The rungs of the banisters were a little bit wide. I was like this. It was like on each stair
because you could
I
fit
thought
through
because
those
I
and
thought
fall
I was
down.
gonna fall. I thought I was gonna fall over. Yeah, I had really terrible fear of heights, and I still do.
Anyway, getting back to my grammar school, I went 3 years to St. Clair on 55th. And when I was in first grade or second grade, I can't remember now. First grade, I think.
Actually, no, you left in third.
No, but when I was in first grade, I carried the pillow for the May crowning.
That's right.
And then, and I went to, of course, in intervening years, I went, in 8th grade, I went to St. Rita, because I went to St. Clair's grade up to 3rd grade. And then I started at St. Rita. When I was in 8th grade, I crowned the Blessed Mother. And my mother had always, through the years, always through the years, wished that I could crown the Blessed Mother, because when I was in first grade, I carried the pillow for the crowning. And
Lo and behold.
That's the standard.
that's the standard that I crowned when I was in 8th grade. Sorry.
That was a good thing. Why are you crying?
And my mother made her the most gorgeous dress to wear. Your dress. You remember your dress? For the May crowning?
No.
The blue.
She didn't make that. I
I don't
bought
think she
that.
made it.
I thought Mommy made that.
No, I don't.
No, and I remember when you crowned our Blessed Mother, you had your cap and gown on.
I had, but underneath.
Yeah, but underneath
Yeah,
you
but
have
you-
the
because that was my
your
graduation
graduation
dress.
dress. You
Wait,
bought
wait,
that
wait.
dress?
I don't think Mommy made it.
Okay, wait, Freddie hasn't said one
Oh, that's
word.
so-
Fred, tell us about when you worked with your father. No, tell us
Okay.
when you worked with your father.
Oh, that's
Talk
okay.
about
We
him.
didn't get to that. We didn't get to that part.
There's a really good story
You can skip
about
around.
my brother.
Skip around.
No, wait, there's a really good story about my brother.
About growing up with all these sisters.
When he was like
They were gone.
2 or 3 years old, he was the most independent little guy you'd ever know. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Tell the story.
He would disappear on his tricycle.
2 years old.
With his
Yeah,
diaper on.
with his diaper. And when he made friends with a gas station attendant, that in those days my mother didn't want him to say any ethnic slurs. So she said his name was George. His real name was Ike, but my mother says that's George. So anyway, so you want to call him George Ike. So anyway, we couldn't find him, and Phyllis usually he had the task of trying to find Freddie.
Well,
So
the whole
we
neighborhood
looked,
was looking for
yeah.
him that day.
I mean,
We
it
thought
was
he gone.
unbelievable. We thought he had just like,
Somebody
disappeared.
kidnapped him or something.
Because he was adorable.
Yeah, but-
he was this little bitty
Wait a
guy
minute.
with this curly hair.
Don't forget, he didn't really talk much.
No, he
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
talk.
He didn't talk
Didn't
at all.
talk at all.
He didn't talk at all.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
So anyway, so all of a
He
sudden
just woke up, by the way. He was snoozing over there.
he was on this. He had this little red tricycle.
Bicycle, yeah.
And all of a sudden, we saw him coming down the block, and he had a little sucker in his mouth, and he's pedaling with no shoes, just his diaper.
Yeah.
Diaper, yeah.
I think like plastic pants, like rubber pants.
Right, rubber pants and the
Rubber
They
diaper.
would have arrested you in this day.
Well, that would have arrested my mother, that's for sure. But he was pedaling down the street, and we looked at him. We said, "Where were you?" And he took his lollipop out of his mouth, and he went, "George Ike, George Ike, yeah." Ike, the gas station guy,
This
gave him.
is a black man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Was a black man.
Well, I loved Freddie. Everybody loved
Oh yeah,
Freddie.
George Ike.
Then he would disappear to the gas station, to the drugstore
Oh, yeah.
around the corner,
Right.
Yeah.
because they had a soda fountain, and
Right.
anything he wanted, he had for
Oh, yeah.
free.
Yeah.
Right.
Because Mr. Choicer loved him.
Yeah.
Everybody
'cause he
loved
was
him.
just
He
adorable.
was adorable. He had these little curls,
Oh yeah.
and he was as cute as could be, and his little T-shirt, sometimes a T-shirt, sometimes
most of
nothing,
the-
just
most
the
of the
diaper.
diaper.
And away he'd go.
Yeah,
you know,
he-
on
I
his
don't-
little tricycle, he was never home. He was always in the alley.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, yeah, when we were older, we were never home.
We remember when they paved our alley, it was like a big deal. Oh my gosh, now we had this beautiful
it was brick before that?
concrete
Cinders.
alley with cinders.
Yeah.
With cinders. And then they paved the alley. It was like, oh my gosh, we were so happy.
Yeah, I remember the day they paved the alley, and we were giving lemonade to the guys. It
And
was
they
so
had the
hot.
boards there, and they were pouring
and they had
the
the,
cement.
and they had the big rakes.
Yeah.
And the squeegees.
I'll
Yeah,
tell you, it
smoothing the
was something.
cement. It was
Yeah.
yeah.
And
And
that
they put the hole
became-
down the middle for the water to
Right.
run
That
out.
became the neighborhood playground.
Well, I
Our
had to be,
alley.
well, I had to be about
Everybody
6.
from the whole
Well,
neighborhood
Because I can
played
remember I
It
was
was paved when
really
Freddie
little.
was born, we know that.
Yeah, I was
He
probably
out
about
there with
6
his
when they paved
bike.
the alley. Because I can remember handing lemonade to the guys. Yeah.
And then we
Because
had
it
the
was so
peddler.
hot.
Pete, the peddler, used to come. Pete D'Amico.
Now, was he the same guy that used to sharpen knives?
No, that
that
was
was the
somebody
knife
else. That was a
Okay.
knife sharpener with the bells. You'd hear him coming.
Ding
Dong,
Oh, yeah.
ding, dong.
Yeah. Yeah, the knife
So-
sharpener. Those were the. And we had milkmen. Oh yeah, Mike Maldaz's. He was a doll.
Yeah, we had the milkman.
Yeah, he lasted a long time because when I married Charlie and lived on 57,
He's still
he was
doing
still our milkman.
Talk about
Yeah.
your house and what part of the house you actually lived in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we lived in the
Oh.
basement.
We lived in the basement.
Gorgeous house upstairs,
Tell them to
right?
explain it. The kids who don't know what that means. The upstairs was off limits.
The upstairs was a showcase. You know, the
Yeah.
bedrooms were up there.
Right. The dining room was gorgeous.
When my mother bought that house, it already had a cabinet kitchen.
A
with-
dishwasher.
With
got
a
a new
dishwasher.
Yeah, a dishwasher.
And we had to move downstairs because my sister Vinnie, when she was born,
But I was spoiled.
wanted to write with the pencil in the grout of the tile. And then she would take the scissors and cut
Cut
the
holes.
arms in the
I
fabric
got a
of the sofa. So my mother
No,
said,
not this one.
we
It was
better
just
go
the
downstairs before she wrecks this whole house.
That's when she wasn't
It was your
cutting her
fault.
hair and putting it
That's
in.
what
Oh,
she
that's
was little.
right. I cut my hair.
Right, she did.
Oh, she
And where'd you
cut
put it?
And how about when you melted the tile off the wall in the bathroom?
Oh, that I don't even
The
remember.
pink tile
But
with the
anyway,
heater.
when I was really little, my hair was really long and it was always really tangled. And my mother would wash my hair up in the kitchen and she would lay me across like the drain board and I would be on the drain board because it was built in. It was a porcelain sink with a porcelain drain board. And I would be sitting there and she would have my head suspended over the sink and she would rinse my hair. And I swear to you, that was waterboarding. I was waterboarded. So all these guys that complain about the terrorists being waterboarded, they got nothing on me. Nothing on me. So I said, okay, enough of this. And so one day, Libby was the beautician.
Oh, Libby, yeah.
Libby was the beautician, and she would come to the house and she would do everybody's hair. And I must have gotten a hold of her scissors, and I cut my hair, and there was a bakery box in the garbage. It was a big, I'll never forget it. It was a big pink box. And I said, okay, I will put my hair in this box and nobody will know.
Oh,
No one will know that I got. So I think it was Philly that saw me and screamed.
Oh.
She said, "What did you do?" And I said, "What?"
So Phyllis said, I better figure out how to cut hair. So
Oh,
That's it. So then Libby gave me a pixie,
Oh.
which is probably a lot like what I
So
love
Libby,
now.
people don't understand, like Mike has no concept of how you guys lived. So explain it, like you had a house in your basement.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, downstairs we had a whole kitchen.
kitchen.
Oh yeah.
My mother had a washer, an automatic washer and dryer before anybody had an automatic washer and dryer. And we had the first TV on the block.
Oh yeah.
And that was in the early, mid-40s. We moved in
I was
47.
47.
Mommy moved into that house on Dolores'
48.
birthday,
Birthday.
1947.
I was 4 years old, right.
June 15th, 1947.
47, right.
The day
Dolores
Dolores
was born.
Yeah, the day Dolores was born.
Right.
Yeah.
And we had an automatic washer and a dryer right away. And then she got an easy washer when Vinnie was born because she had so many diapers and things and she couldn't wait for the automatic
No
to do it.
Pampers back in the day.
No Pampers. And we would go to school. When we were in grammar school, we'd walk to school in the morning, what's about 5 blocks.
Yeah, what's
Then
that?
we'd come home for lunch, and then we would walk back to school, and then at night we'd come back. So, I mean, we really got our walking in. But when we came home for lunch, there was a big pile of clothes on the chair waiting for us, or for me anyhow. Fold those clothes before you go back to school.
You weren't.
Cinderella, yeah.
Believe it.
You don't believe it? Well, I remember it. folding the clothes, big pile of clothes.
And I used to.
And Gussie did the mango.
We had a mango.
Oh, yeah.
Appendix mango.
A mango. It
Which
was
is
an automatic ironer like you see in a laundromat.
And where they pull it down?
No, it was a big roller. It was a roller.
It was a mango.
And it had
Yeah.
pedals, right? You
Yeah.
control
no,
with pedals?
A knee on your knee.
Neat
Oh,
thing,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like a
There's
sewing
knee pedals.
machine.
Right.
Right. And I would do, Grandpa, of course, was a big man. My father was a big man.
Yeah, 5'7",
So of course
2'4".
I could do these shirts, his shirts on this mangle. If they were smaller, I wouldn't be able to do them, but because they were nice and wide, they fit perfectly in this mangle. And you had to put them and then take it out and do the sleeves separately and do the back and the lapel and the collars. And
If you guys did all the work, what'd your mother do?
Oh, she did a lot of work.
she did the cooking.
She
Yeah,
did
she did a lot of
cooking.
cooking.
She did a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of cleaning.
Well, my mother was
mother
the,
did
she would
everything.
do,
She would do a lot
was
of
the
the other work.
handyman of the house. She painted.
Well, yeah,
Painted,
that's
yeah.
right.
Stripped
She
all the
stripped
woodwork.
the woodwork, right.
Finished all the woodwork,
Right.
painted the whole house.
She always
But she
did.
did the gardening too.
Oh,
She was
yeah.
a gardener. We had gorgeous
She would
flowers.
clean the gutters. I mean, yeah, she would clean the gutters. Daddy didn't do anything
yeah,
like that.
My father did
Not
nothing.
doing
And she would wash windows.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wash
Wash
the
the
windows,
windows.
put
Right.
the screens
Screens.
on, the
Oh,
storm
yeah.
windows.
Right.
Yeah, what Cheech used to do.
Yeah, Grandpa didn't do anything but work, right?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. He did nothing, nothing.
not
He
work.
worked a lot of
Everything
hours.
around the house. Yeah.
But he would leave in the morning. In fact, we hardly
Oh,
saw my
my
father
father.
when we were little.
Yeah, he was
When we
never
were on
home.
55th especially. He would leave in the morning and not come home until it was dark. So we hardly saw my father. But in the summertime, of course, it still might be light when he got home. But in the winter, it was always dark, so we hardly ever saw him. But on Sunday morning, he would read the jokes
newspaper.
to
Oh,
us.
jokes, yeah.
I remember sitting in that chair on his lap, and he would read the jokes.
The joke. And we
That
always
was
called
our-
them the jokes, not the funnies or the
Not the
comics.
funnies,
the
the
jokes,
jokes.
yeah.
I still call him
The jokes.
The jokes, yeah.
And that was his Sunday morning, ritual with me especially. I don't know
It was the
about.
only time we used the living room.
Yeah.
Right.
Really.
Read the
that's
paper
right,
on
read the
Sunday.
paper. Yeah. Yeah.
But
and I
this
can-
was on 55th.
No, but he did it on
Even on
66.
But on
Oh,
66,
maybe so. I
yeah,
don't
know.
66, we
Big
used
chair.
to,
Right.
yeah, we would read
Yeah.
the paper
Right.
upstairs.
Yeah, he would
Strewed
read-
all over the floor.
And he would sit in the big wing chair.
Yeah.
Right, it was a
Right.
big wing chair, right.
Yeah.
And then we would go to Nana's on Sunday, every
Oh,
Sunday.
that's right.
It was the ritual, we would go to Nana's, we'd say the rosary in the car.
Right,
Where did Nana live?
Yeah.
2931
Union.
Union.
Yeah, 29th and Union.
That was
And
it.
we'd get
Yeah.
a quarter to go around the corner to get a little thing of Italian ice this big and a little paper cup.
Right.
It was a-
Probably a nickel.
A window.
Oh, cookie.
You don't remember the Italian ice?
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh.
Oh,
Yeah.
And a little
Italian
white
lemonade.
paper
We
cup.
call it
Now we
Italian
sell
lemonade.
Italian ice.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Italian ice.
Well, we wouldn't call it Italian ice. In those days,
We
it was
called it
Italian
Italian lemonade.
Italian
Yeah.
lemonade.
Yeah, because they didn't make it many flavors.
Oh, right. They just lemon.
lemon.
It was
Or
just
we would
lemon.
go to the show, the
The
Ramova.
movie.
Oh, the remote.
The
Still
Milda.
there, they're gonna knock it down.
Ramova.
The
Right.
Milda,
Yeah.
actually, right on
Which
31st
one?
Street, the Milda.
Oh, the
Oh,
Milda.
I don't remember
Yeah.
that. I
The
remember going,
Metropole, wasn't it called?
The Milda.
I
Milda.
remember going to the Ramova and seeing the robe with Mommy. And I was sitting next to her and she was crying like crazy. Yeah,
What else
the
would we do?
robe.
We'd play with Buddy, he'd pitch pennies.
Oh,
Pitch pennies.
You have to say who Buddy is. 'cause they-
Buddy, our cousin Frank.
Frank, yeah.
Or Barbara.
Uncle Barbara.
Uncle Sam's son.
Oh, yeah.
Pitch
That was-
pennies, or
we
they would
would-
do the knives in the grass.
Oh, yeah.
We'd take we actually sometimes, we went during the week, something, we'd take the streetcar
Later in life.
to get to
I
Nana's.
never did that.
And we'd take we'd probably take
That was
60,
before my time.
no, 55th to Halsted. And we'd take the Halsted streetcar to
29th.
31st, probably.
31st, I think. And
Right.
then walk to Nana's. And
I don't
this
even
also,
remember that.
when we were a little older,
No, I never did
we
that.
did that.
Oh, but I don't remember how we
It was
did it.
before
And
my
we would
time.
go to the Sox game. We'd walk to my
I
grandmother's,
thought we went Archer.
pick up Buddy, no.
We went archery with Daddy in the car, California
pick up
archery.
Buddy
Yeah, but I
and
thought-
walk to
yeah,
the
I should have
Sox
lost
game.
it.
And
Should have hosted, or I should have
Stay
taken
for the
first
game.
and come around 31st, around the
then,
bridge there.
Yeah,
wait for
right,
the
well,
guys, to
our
wait
two
for the
returns
players
are
to come
31st.
out. Minnie Minoso, Jack,
Jack
Eddie,
Woodhouse.
Eddie Robinson. I don't remember the other guys.
Nellie Fox.
Nellie Fox, right.
My father was a Yankee fan who loved the Yankees. Daddy
Oh,
loved
yeah.
the Yankees, as far as that goes.
And I don't know why, probably because he liked Joe DiMaggio.
He liked the Yankees.
Yeah, that was probably why.
Yeah, I think a lot of Italians did that for that reason.
Right, because of DiMaggio.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, Daddy always loved the Yankees.
What else?
Yeah. I don't know, but all I
Did you
know
guys
is.
ever go on vacations?
No.
Oh, we went to.
Did you ever go to restaurants?
Are you kidding?
Absolutely not.
Are you kidding me?
only-
That was wartime.
Well,
Yeah, besides that,
The
though,
only
even when it
restaurant-
wasn't war, even when it wasn't wartime,
Oh, World War
who
One
could
or
cook
two?
better?
Two.
Who could cook better than Mommy and Daddy? What did
Well,
they really
but
need with
Korea.
restaurants?
yes, but once a year we would go to
Korea.
Old Heidelberg and see
Oh,
the
not
puppet
me.
show.
Oh, yeah.
Remember? the
Yeah, it was
puppet
before
show?
my time.
Our mommy would take us for lunch.
Where was
when
Old
we went
Heidelberg?
downtown.
Yeah, where was Old Heidelberg? Tell me about it.
That was downtown.
Yeah.
And they
Well,
had the
isn't
puppet
it where
show.
the,
That had to be the German.
What, Kunzholm was the puppet show.
Kunz
The puppet show.
It was the puppet show.
Kunzholm.
Or maybe it was
Kunzholm.
Kung's Home.
And then,
I
but
don't
Old
And Mommy
Heidelberg
said
was
she
on
always,
stage.
she always hated Kunzholm because everything tasted like fish. Because it was Scandinavian smorgasbord.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and they would have the puppet show.
Right.
We didn't have, we especially did not have hamburgers when we were
No,
young.
it wouldn't.
Because it was during the wartime. And Grandpa always, or my father said, they use horse meat. We're not
Oh, my
going to,
God.
we're not going to have hamburgers out because that's horse meat. So we never went to a restaurant.
And then we used to go to Aunt Concetta's, Uncle Bruno's once in a
Right.
while
Oh,
on
yeah.
Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We loved it.
That was a journey all the way to the north side.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
But
we
it was
got
a
her
treat.
famous potato salad, which was the best. Nobody could ever make it like she did.
And she made a beautiful, she
Oh.
always made a cake for us.
Cake, yeah.
Oh, that's
Beautiful,
right, that's what you always said.
oh,
Yeah.
a beautiful iced cake, layer cake. And as a matter of fact, I dreamt of either a person that I thought was Aunt
Yeah,
Concetta
just the other night.
or just the other night, a couple of nights ago.
Who were your cousins over there?
Our cousins were
Oh,
Cousin Betty, who is in the audience today, and
Frankie, Freddie.
Frankie, Freddie,
Freddie.
Jimmy, Bobby, and Donnie. Jimmy was my age, a little bit younger than me, and I remember the other day, I was thinking, Jimmy always pinched. Did he do that to you, Betty? He always went around and pinched your leg. Do you remember
I
that?
don't remember that. I just remember
I
that.
was little.
And all I remember is I was really little, and I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I had such a crush on Frankie. He had come back from the Korean War, and I just had such a crush on him. I thought he was adorable. Even as, you know, this little bitty kid, I thought Frankie was adorable.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
But yeah,
But we
the
loved.
thing that I remember about Aunt Concetta and Uncle Bruno's, where they lived, was Potomac.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember
Potomac,
Potomac
yeah.
Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, Potomac.
Something else.
How was it when you got older? High school? Where did everyone go to high school? What was that
Where
like?
else?
Maria.
We all went to Maria, and
Freddie
Maria-
was getting older,
Yes.
Oh,
Right?
yeah, Freddie.
Fred, say
Well,
something.
Freddie was, he was
I don't remember any of that.
Actually, Freddie
was not
well,
born.
walked to school with me because I was teaching at St.
Oh,
Rita.
that's right.
So when I got married, he was my what you call boy. And then when I started school, I was teaching the 5th grade, and he would walk to school with me because he was in
in
kindergarten.
kindergarten. Yeah.
I don't even remember.
You don't?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, we all graduated from St. Rita Grammar School, and then it was time for high school. Of
Wait,
course-
wait. I have to stop you because this is really good. Talk about going to Maria when you went first, or Lulu went first, and then the cop. Talk about the cop.
Oh.
That was hysterical. This was absolutely nuts.
Okay. Anyway, we lived on 66th in California.
That was a great.
And it was time for high school, and through grammar school, I always thought, well, I'm going to go to Visitation High School because that was the the girls' high school that we knew of. And So just before, like when I was in 7th grade, they started having carnivals and whatever on the corner, because it was an empty lot, and for this new high school that they were going to build. And so they built this high school, and it was Maria High School, and it was ready when I was ready for high school. So we were very fortunate. We were only a few steps
Yeah.
from
Yeah, we're
Maria
half a
High
block.
School.
Block away.
Half a block, and I started at Maria the day it opened, and it was a great school.
St. Casimir nuns.
Sisters of St.
Casimir,
Casimir.
they were
Little
really
Order,
good.
and they were very good.
Very good.
And
Yeah.
they loved
They really-
Italians.
And they really completed the
What we
education
learned,
that we started,
Right.
what we got from the Dominicans.
Right.
Yeah, they really, they were as excellent of teachers as the Dominicans. They were absolutely wonderful.
And they just closed the school a couple years ago, and it
2013.
was just like the day they
yeah.
built it.
Yeah,
The school was impeccable,
yeah.
immaculately clean. We could only wear soft-soled
Right, these were
shoes,
crepe sole shoes.
grape-soled
Grape-soled
shoes, and that was it.
And we had to have nylons on.
Yeah.
Right?
Couldn't go to school without nylons.
Nylons, right. It
I
was-
think when I was a junior, we could wear knee
changed it.
socks.
Oh, okay.
We could wear knee socks then.
We had our little uniforms with the bolero jackets and the
adorable.
Peter Pan collars
Yeah.
on the blouse. It was really cute.
And
We had
A-line skirts.
skirts, right.
Yeah.
And the school was swept every single day,
Yeah.
and then buffed with the buffing machine every single day.
Right.
And
Beautiful
the
school.
stairs were swept down with a little stair broom with a little handle. Every single stair
Yeah.
was swept every single day by the girls who were working their way through school. That was their job.
Okay, Fred, maybe you should talk about high school.
Wait, Gussie, you gotta tell the story about
Oh.
the cop.
No, I don't really
It's
know
a
the
crossing
truth.
guard, wasn't it? I don't remember.
You
Well,
don't remember
oh,
that?
okay.
Okay, well,
Oh,
this
you
is the
tell.
thing. People always thought that Gussie and Lulu looked alike. We always thought people were crazy because, first of all, Lulu's about 3 inches taller.
Yeah.
And they just have, if you live with your sisters, they have
just know.
they have totally different faces.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's no way these two girls look alike. But everybody who didn't live with them thought they were twins. It was crazy. So one day, I think Lulu went to school, and there was a crossing guard in those days. I mean,
Yeah.
it was I think a Chicago policeman, and Lulu crossed, and then about 20 minutes later,
Whatever.
Gussie went crossing. She went and she crossed the street, and the cop looked at her and said, "Didn't you just go by here about 20 minutes ago?" And she said, "Oh no, that was my sister."
Yeah.
Oh, it was just insane.
Well, that was,
Oh yeah,
Well,
that
to
was
this-
just so funny.
To this day in Florida, the people always say, "Oh, that was, I just saw your sister Gussie." I said, "No, that was Lucio."
Yeah, it is. It's just crazy.
it's funny, but it's true.
But yeah, it was just so funny how the cop. Didn't I just cross you 20 minutes ago? Oh, it's
Fred, what high school did you go to?
Okay, school, Fred.
St. Rita.
Got anything to say about it?
no.
No, not really.
Oh, I can say one thing. He was voted best dressed.
Oh,
Best dressed.
Yeah.
In high school. Oh yeah.
He probably doesn't remember that.
Don't you remember that?
I remember that.
Yeah. What year was it? Was it junior or senior?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah. But yeah, he was voted best
But
dressed.
then he went to college, worked with Daddy.
Yeah, worked with Daddy and
Talk
your
about
In the
that.
butcher shop, that was nice memories. Learned a lot.
from Uncle Bruno too, right?
Yeah, Uncle Bruno used to come in. Yeah.
He would teach Freddie how to cut the meat, right?
We used to make lunch every day.
That's
No, it was a night. If ever you could work with your mother or father at one part of your life, it was really nice. A nice experience. Yeah.
Daddy and
Well, we
Freddie
all
were
went
really
to-
close,
Yeah.
really close.
You make
But
the,
we all
you
went
make
to
the
the butcher
sausage,
shop.
Fred.
We made sausage. Yeah.
Homemade
We would
sausage.
make the lasagna at the butcher shop all the time, the sauce and the lasagna. We'd
Mary
serve-
didn't remember that.
What?
Mary didn't remember that.
Oh,
that
she
we did.
doesn't remember?
Well, that was Mommy's job, though. Really.
Well, Mommy's
She
job,
used to make
but then I know I made a lot of lasagna there.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Afterwards.
But then after Grandma had her heart attack, then
I
I
bet-
took over.
Oh, well, maybe you did, but I know that I was there.
We were ahead of our time because that's
Yeah,
what all
that's
the
what they
stores
do
do
now.
now. They
Yeah,
all
yeah.
make prepared foods.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
they do.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Without
salads.
prepared foods, all these places.
Mrs. Abate was our number one customer.
Mayor, what did you, Mayor,
Oh,
what did you
Mary
go
Ann
there? I
Abate?
don't remember that.
Yeah, Mary Ann Abate.
Yeah,
Who was
she-
her?
8th grade.
I did her hair for ages.
Who was
She had a son and
Well, I
a
know
daughter, but I
that,
don't remember their names now.
Actually, I know my son David did go there and clean up once for one summer, I think. And then you went there, Mayor? and-
Davy?
Yeah. I think he was only in 8th grade. We were living on 55th.
Why doesn't Freddie talk about how the store got started, how you dealt with your mother?
Oh, I don't remember how.
Well, Daddy was out of a job, remember? And then he knew that fella who,
He had the meat market.
well,
Some guy had the meat
meat
market
market
there.
there. And he got to know him or something.
The guy was stealing the meat.
I was still,
And once he couldn't steal the meat off the trains anymore, he sold it to my father.
Right.
Was he at the store on?
Yeah.
Was he there?
On
Whipple.
63rd
Who
Whipple.
taught you how to be a butcher?
Uncle Bruno.
No, my
Daddy?
Yeah.
You learn.
Father.
We used to get the meat and you used to get the regular, the whole
cannibal,
candle, hind
yeah.
quarters and forequarters.
Right.
Cut it apart.
Cut it apart,
You just,
yeah.
I learned the whole thing there,
Right.
by the butcher shop.
We were there for
The
a
whole
long
animal.
time. Daddy had the store for how long? 5 years, 4
Maybe
years?
something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, it was a long time. Put you through college.
Yeah,
Right.
Because I'm trying to think.
well, it started when I was in high school.
Right.
Because I was
Okay.
working at
Right.
the restaurant.
Because
that
Charles,
you
yeah,
hooked me up
Charles
at the
did.
restaurant down the street on
Oh,
63rd.
the royalty.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the one day they said, why don't you, I just come to work. So I was, I don't know, a junior or senior in high school when I started.
Okay, so they had to be about 71 or 72.
Yeah,
Because you
then-
graduated in 73. And I remember on Whipple, Char was real little. So he was born in 73. Oh, yeah, I was pregnant with Char. And so, yeah, so you guys must have started the store. They must have started the store in like 71 or 72. And
I forgot what the
then-
man's name was that had the store.
Oh,
They
I don't
closed it in
remember.
like
I
79.
remember what he looked
They
like,
closed
but
it
I
in
don't remember what his name
1979.
I don't
Mommy
even
knew
remember
her.
any of that.
Because Mommy
I was
knew her in
working the
79.
Yeah.
79.
So it's, yeah,
I
79.
was living on,
Yeah, so it was from about 72 to
I
79.
was living in the Grange Park.
Who
Already?
died in 79? Someone died in 79.
No, not that I know
And I went there and helped Daddy.
of. They moved. They moved to Oaklawn in 79. Yeah,
Yeah.
because Gussie moved here in 77.
If you say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, 77.
Yeah,
She
that's
moved in
when
June and I moved to Ridgeway in November. And then
Oh,
Cheech
right,
died.
November, right.
Cheech died right
Yeah,
after I
Uncle-
moved.
Well, Uncle Vito died
Died.
in September of 78.
78, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, it had to be a year after I moved.
Yeah, and
there.
Big Grandma died in January of 78. Yeah.
She died when? Before or after Cheech?
Before. She died in January,
She
he died in
died?
September.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He died September 10th. Yeah.
You guys have been going for an hour. You want to take a dessert break and come back?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a period.
Well, I think we
Is
could
there
wrap it
anything
up.
else?
Yeah, I think so.
What?
Tell about his
I mean, unless we talk about.
Uncle Freddie.
Married or
Oh,
something.
yeah, how he got started and how then Daddy died and,
Oh,
yeah, with the rest, with Freddy's.
Well, I learned a lot at the butcher shop.
right.
How to keep the product fresh,
Right.
Then you married Denise
I
and you
learned a lot.
went to work for Uncle Joey.
That's right. That's right. You went to work for Joey.
Well, while I was going out with Denise, I went to work at their family restaurant, and I kind of took a liking.
Uncle Freddie, how'd you meet Denise?
I was the teacher, she was the student.
There it is.
That's another tape.
That's right. That's another tape.
No, but tell how your mom and Phyllis came into the
Oh, when I opened a restaurant, yeah. My
Gussie
my
and I.
mom and
Yeah.
Gussie and Phyllis
And Mrs. Shannon.
had all that cheap
Grandma
labor.
Shannon?
Yeah, Grandma Shannon. She was
Mrs. Shannon watched the kids.
Mrs. Shannon used to, watch the kids, help with the kids.
Even Auntie Joe came to the store and worked.
She did.
Yeah, she
I don't
did.
remember that.
Yeah, and Madeline
Once
did
or
her
twice.
confirmation service project at the store.
Oh, did she?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was at
Philly put in a lot of hours. Gussie worked a lot of hours for free.
I was at a wedding on a Sunday afternoon, Billy Ficcaro's wedding at Silver Lakes Country Club. Freddie was open about 3 weeks. And I had a cell phone.
That wedding of Billy Ficcaro's, because of Billy Ficcaro's wedding, I remember I was pregnant with Madeline.
Tony, yeah.
Yeah, when he married Bernadette.
My telephone rings and it's Freddie. Philly, where are you? I said, Fred, I'm at Billy Ficcaro's wedding. Oh, okay, well don't worry about it. I says, what's the matter? He says, they're lined up down the street and I'm running out of meatballs and I'm running out of sauce. I said, well, I'll tell you what, Fred. If you can call Denise and get me a pair of tennis shoes and a pair of jeans and a t-shirt, I'll come right from here, because if I go home, it'll take me too long. So I shot right down Harlem to 159th Street, over to 57, and shot down to the restaurant. That was it. Changed my clothes. I said to Billy, I have to go. I'm sorry, Freddie needs me. And that was it. And I worked every day. I had my beauty shop. I'd finish, bingo, go to Freddie's, right?
Yeah.
Stay till close. And Gussie was there during the day.
For about a year and a half.
Gussie, I don't know, you worked there a long time.
Yeah.
About a year and a half. And I'd go at like 9 in the morning, and sometimes wouldn't come home until 9 at night.
It's wild.
And when I ran short of money, Gussie would give it me to pay one of the purveyors.
Not only was she not getting paid.
No, that cost me money.
All those angel
And I'd
That's
stay
right,
till,
angel investor.
midnight every night. When I was
yeah, Phyllis worked a lot of hours.
there. Yeah. Sundays. I had a good time.
So about the characters you met in there.
Oh, I met a ton of characters in there.
Boise.
I don't even remember half of them
I'd
now.
make deliveries in Gussie's Lincoln.
And yeah.
I had a new Lincoln, and
So
we'd make deliveries.
tell us about what it was like growing up with all these sisters.
You know what? I mean, my sisters are great, but I really don't remember a lot with growing up with them because.
Because he was always out.
Well,
He was
Well,
always
you
out
I mean,
playing.
by the time I was 5 or 6, two of my sisters
Gussie was
were
married,
Well,
yeah.
married.
Phyllis was kind of busy making money, working
I was
a lot.
working.
She was working.
Working all the time.
I don't know what Vinny. I don't know.
Oh,
I mean,
always.
my sister. I'm closest to my sister Vinny. Because we grew up together. But
Right.
I don't remember a lot at the house.
Well,
Maybe
you
I
were
was always out.
You were he was
Fred,
always
tell
out.
the story. Tell the
always
story
out.
about your grandmother that lived with you that only spoke
Oh,
Italian.
Nana.
And that she lived in your room with you for 8 years and you never spoke one word to her. Tell us. That's
You were
classic.
always out with your friends and playing sports.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was always
in the alley.
at my house in the
Oh,
basement.
I went a lot. I went a lot by Lulu. I mean that
Right, but
part.
that's when you were old.
But I mean, we
that's
were
when
like, I mean, we
yeah.
weren't there. We didn't have anything to do at the house.
No,
Bob
when you
was
were,
leaving.
yeah,
I
when
went
you
to
were
say
little,
goodbye to him. I
you
went
were
to
always
see
out.
him.
He was leaving,
You were always
I'll be
playing.
right
Yeah.
back.
With Gary and, with Gary
was
and
leaving?
Eddie.
Gus.
Right, and Gus, yeah. Yeah, he was always playing baseball or something. And we were in the Little League.
We were
Yeah, they were
married.
so funny how he was in the Little League with Mikey. And played baseball with Mikey in the Little League.
Well, I was the coach for.
Yeah.
was their coach.
Yeah.
Where, Marquette Park?
Market Boys Baseball.
No, Marquette
Marquette
Boys
Boys
baseball.
baseball.
It was by Hoyt.
Yeah.
Like 62nd and Hoyt.
But then they moved to 59th and Cicero. It was railroad property where the,
I don't remember the movie.
No, I don't. I was going by that.
no.
The elevator. The elevator.
Well, the red line or the orange line. or
orange-
whatever.
the orange
Baseball
line.
and stuff.
Yeah.
My mommy and Gussie were baseball mothers together. It was nuts.
Never
Remember? And you used to run the concessions.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it was the
Fred, why don't you sit in the middle now?
So, how do you think you all stayed so close over the years?
No,
Because we're Italian.
Italian. I was gonna s-
We're
I said
Italian. You know.
Usually Italian.
You all
stays
spend every
close.
holiday together still. A lot of families don't do that.
Right.
They go off with their own little family and do their thing. But how would you guys say that you've stayed so close?
Well, we always
over the
had a lot of
years?
parties, and we always celebrated birthdays.
Right, we
and
always
Yeah, we
celebrated
were
birthdays
like
together.
that together.
And you know what? I
Yeah.
think too, it's because we're so religious.
Yeah.
We have a sense of family.
Emily.
Yeah.
Right.
And I always, I'm gonna cry,
Yeah.
as usual. My son is a priest because of my mother. My mother instilled such a love of our Lord and especially our Blessed Mother.
Mother.
And she's she's the mother of us all. And she is like our mother, and I really think that that's how we've stayed together. It's because she's here, she's watching over us, and my mother always loved her. She was devoted to the rosary. She made the Sorrowful Mother Novena when we were kids. She was always so close to our Blessed Mother, and she instilled that in us. I think that gave us a bond and something that just really knitted us all together. And I really think that that's why we are so close, because of because of the way my mother instilled the love of God and the love of our Blessed Mother in us.
And you all married good people, right?
And you know
That
what?
helps, you know, we all get along.
We're all
Right.
kind
That's
and we're
true.
all compassionate.
That's true.
We're just nice people. You know, we care not only about our families, but
If you do say so, you
And
we
modest.
care about,
And modest.
but we care about other people too. Because it's just the way we are,
It's
you
true.
know.
And these values were instilled in you when you were real little.
Absolutely, right.
Exactly.
Yeah, like what Phyllis said, when we used to drive home from Nana's house, from our grandmother's house, we would say the rosary every Sunday night.
Yeah, either going or coming.
Right.
Right.
Right, and my mother would always tell us,
My mother-
always pray, always pray. And there was an Italian expression that said, don't wait until
Until
the
you
water
need it.
runs under your feet.
Yeah.
It's an Italian expression, I don't know how to say it in Italian, but that's what she always told us. Pray to God, don't wait until the water is running under your feet to ask God to help you. Always
Right.
keep God in your life. And she instilled daily mass. I was always lazy, I never went to daily mass, I still don't, but my sisters go to daily mass. But I'm the one with the priest, so let's figure it out.
We're all old and we're healthy. Nobody's nobody's blind or crippled with no diseases.
Well,
and-
almost.
Well, I know, but we're lucky we're alive. I mean, think about it.
No, it's true.
Talk about
Yeah, we
thanking God.
we
Wow.
haven't had any real debilitating
No.
diseases or.
So, I mean,
illnesses,
really, bunch of beautiful kids and grandkids and this and that. I mean, what the heck more could you ask for? Really, think about it.
The winning lottery ticket.
Yeah, but you know, when you have family, it's more important than money.
You're right on that.
I'll tell you.
Well
You can
said.
have all the money in the world and be miserable.
Well, that's true.
No one to share it with, so what good is that? You know.
So I think that
It about
it's a
covers
good
it.
spot to wrap it up. Anyone have any memories they want to add?
I just want to
Or
say
anything we should remember?
one thing. What
Go ahead, say it.
I always think it is so funny whenever I talk to people about my family, and I would always tell them I have a sister Gussie, Lucille, Phyllis, I'm Vincenta, and my brother is Frederick Mario. And I said we're Gus, Lou, Phil, Vince, and Mary.
Yeah. We all have boys' names. I've always said that.
Gus, Lou, Phil, Vince, and Mary.
Mary. Right. Well, my mother was trying to name one of us after her father-in-law, whom she loved
Oh
dearly.
yeah. And I won the
So,
lottery.
my middle name was Vivian,
Right.
I think, which was as close to Vincent as she could get.
Right.
Then when Gussie went to Maria, was
No.
Vinnie born already?
No. This is the story, and I'll tell you, I have an addendum to add to this story. My mother did not know. She had a dream that my grandfather told her, no matter what this baby is, I want you to name this baby after me.
And he had just died.
And he
just
died
died.
in 48. I was born in 49. He died in
Right.
October, and I was born the next
September. Right.
So my mother was in the hospital and she was agonizing, and she was telling them they were the St. Casimir nuns and they were a Lithuanian order. And she was agonizing over, what am I going to name this kid? What am I going to name this kid? So one of the nuns came in and said, what's wrong? What was your father-in-law's name? And she said, Vincent. She says, oh, well, we have a sister, Vincenta. So that's how I got the name Vincenta. My son had his homecoming mass at St. Patrick's Church in Lake Forest back in May of 2009. And one of our friends was at his mass, and her name is Judy Kozak. That name is Polish, but she's Lithuanian. So I was talking to her and she said, Vinny, I never knew your name was Vincenta. That's my grandmother's name. And I said, Judy, you're Lithuanian. And she said, yeah. She says, Vincenta's a Lithuanian name. And I said, son of a gun. All my life I thought Vincenta was an Italian name. And it turned out that, of course, put two and two together. The nuns were Lithuanian.
Yeah.
So I finally found out back when I was 60 years old that my name was Lithuanian.
Oh, well.
Philly, just tell the story that my kids love the most.
Oh, what about Daddy?
Yeah, because that'll give them an idea how it was with.
Well,
with
we
your
were about
mother.
7 or 8. I was about 8 or 9 years old, and my father, we were going to a wedding. And in those days, all the kids went to the weddings. We'd get all dressed up, and we'd go to the beef and orange pop weddings.
Oh, right.
They were in a big hall.
Yeah, right.
They were in a big hall, you know, like a VFW or whatever. And they'd have a little window, and you'd go up to the window and get your beef sandwich and your root beer or orange or whatever you wanted. You know, they may have had ginger ale. They had ginger ale in those days and stuff. You know. So anyhow, my father came home from the store, and we're all getting dressed, and I'm all dressed up already. You know, I got my little dress on, and I'm ready to go, and this and that. And he wanted me to polish his shoes. I didn't feel like getting all dirty to polish my father's shoes. So he got real mad at me, and he starts to chase me. And I ran down the stairs. We were upstairs. Everybody got dressed upstairs, you know. I ran down the stairs, and I ran into this bathroom, and the bathroom was made of...
Pine.
No, the bathroom in those days wasn't knotty pine.
Wasn't it knotty pine?
It was the boards that you pressed together. What do you call it?
Masonite?
No, it wasn't
Cherry
masonite.
board.
It was the boards that
Plywood.
fit in. Well, anyhow,
This is in the basement.
this was in the basement.
Right.
So I ran down the
Oh, I
stairs.
know what you're talking about.
I-
They were like corrugated board.
I ran into the bathroom, and I hooked the door, and my father came rushing down after me, and he's yelling, you know, and this and that. And he grabs the door, he pulled the whole door up. And I said to him, Mommy's gonna kill you. Oh, he says, here it is with this door in his hand. And I said, Mommy's gonna kill you. Oh, he called me every name. You little so-and-so, you see what you made me do?
Because he knew Mommy would kill him.
Oh, yeah, that was so funny. Then another time, oh, my father was a stitch. He was a big guy, and my mother always had to have these gussets put in his pants because the legs were too tight all the time, you know. So
Yeah.
pretty soon, here comes the polyester pants now, you know.
What did Daddy have, a
So,
26-inch inseam?
I don't know. But anyhow,
That short?
we're getting ready to go to this wedding one night, and my mother hands him this brand new pair of trousers. And he says to her, did you have the gussets put in there? And she says, you won't need the gussets in these. They're gonna fit you fine. I'm not wearing these, they're not gonna fit. And she's yelling at her, and she's yelling back at him, and this, and then he takes these pants, he says, I'll rip these, I'll tear these. And he takes his pants, and he's trying to tear them, and they wouldn't tear. And he's getting madder by the minute. It was so funny. I can remember it like it was yesterday. Pulling on these things, and they wouldn't rip. Son of a bitch. And he got real mad, and he threw his shoe, and he broke the glass in the front door. Oh, my mother wanted to kill him.
Was that one he broke?
But yeah, the
I
glass.
remember him throwing that shoe.
Oh, that
Yeah.
was funny.
And breaking that
I'll
window.
tell you.
Oh,
Tell you, poor Daddy. He was so funny.
yeah, that's a nice guy.
Good guy, though.
Yes, my father was so loved. He had a 2-night wake,
Oh.
and it was packed both
Packed,
nights.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was so, Daddy, take us here. Come on, Daddy, take us there. Come on, Daddy.
yeah.
You never
He
once
would
said
call
no.
at 2 in the
Morning.
morning.
Come and
Oh,
get
yeah.
you.
Out of bed.
Come and
Come
get
and
you.
get you.
Right.
yeah.
Come and get you. You know, he
Yeah.
would drive my sisters to the SDS meetings way up on the north side of this church or that church. Or,
But he was always a really big spender when you'd ask him for money. Dolores and I, it was a Sunday afternoon, and we were dying to go to the Tasty Freeze. And he said, okay, I'll take you if you make me some lemonade. We made him 2 pitchers of lemonade. He gave us a nickel. To go buy
never gave
one
anybody
cone
any
at the Tasty Freeze. Yeah, he gave us a nickel.
Oh, that's a Tasty
Come on,
Freeze
Uncle
by
Fred.
the store?
Yeah, 69th
Great.
and
And May by Auntie Mary's.
No, it was
69th.
just 69th like Fairfield
Each
or
week,
Washington
yeah.
Tallman.
No.
69th
Oh,
and
that's
Tallman.
Tasty Freeze.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Uncle Fred, I'll never forget the words. Uncle Fred, you gave us a nickel. Oh, Uncle Fred.
Well, that's about it.
Yeah.
Auntie Fanny and Uncle Fred.
Auntie Fanny and Uncle Fred, right.
Thanks, Sam.
Who you were named after. Your
Yeah.
mother, you
Yeah.
were named after your father,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, his real name was.
My father's real name was Fortunato, but everybody called him
Fred,
Fred.
yeah.
So, like Italians do, they'll always name the kid after the Americanized name.
Yeah, right.
Like Philippe.
And it seems like the names fit,
I
right?
think so.
I don't know. Do I look like a Vincenta to you?
You'll always be a Vincenta.
Sugar break.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
But you're not done.
Oh, no.